Donald Trump has won the 2024 election and will become the new president of the United States of America. Today, we'll review a news article on this topic to help you improve all areas of your English. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Our headline: Trump pulls off historic White House comeback. First, let's talk about a comeback. Do you know what this is? This is a return to a previous position or role, but it's usually after an absence. So Trump was the previous president, and then there was a 4-year absence where he wasn't the president. And it can also mean after facing challenges, which Trump did as well. So he had both of these. So you can use this in a political context, but this is commonly used in sports. A sports team can make a comeback, so they can win, but then lose or face challenges for a period of time and then win again. Or it can be in one game as well. This is commonly used in the expression to make a comeback. So here the verb is make that you would conjugate. In a sports context, for example, the team made a comeback in the last 20 minutes. So this sounds like in one game, the team was winning, but then they started losing or facing challenges, but then they started winning again. The team made a comeback. We also use this with fashion trends or things that were popular, were not popular for a period of time, and then are popular again. For example, wide leg jeans. So just jeans where the pant leg is wide instead of tight fitting. Wide leg jeans have made a comeback. They were popular, not popular, popular again. So now you know what comeback means. Let's take a look at this very useful phrasal verb, pull off. To pull something off means to succeed, but to succeed in doing something difficult or challenging. So it's difficult to make a comeback and win the presidency for a second time, but Trump did that. So he pulled it off, the it being winning the election. This is commonly used in many different ways. You can use this to express doubt. There's no way we can pull that off. So maybe that is preparing a presentation in 5 minutes. There's no way we can pull that off. So to express doubt in the ability to accomplish something difficult. It's also used to express optimism. If we work together, we can pull it off. We can accomplish something difficult. Or we also use it after we succeed and we express our shock or astonishment. I can't believe we pulled it off. So in this case, the team was successful and they still cannot believe their result. One more example: learning English is difficult, but with a great teacher, I know I can pull it off. What do you think? Do you agree with that? If you do, put that's right, put that's right in the comments. And I hope I'm that great teacher to help you pull it, learning English, to pull it off. Now, don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now, let's continue and learn about how Trump made this comeback, how he pulled it off. The Republican, this is Donald Trump, the Republican comfortably defeated Democrat Kamala Harris in what polls had suggested would be a very tight election. Okay, so the polls represents the ballots submitted. So the votes submitted. Those are the polls. Now the polls said it was going to be very tight, which means that the results were going to be quite close together, quite even. So very tight. But we know that the result was not very tight. It wasn't very close or even because Trump comfortably defeated Harris. So if he comfortably defeated, it means it wasn't a tight result. It wasn't a close result. In this context, a synonym for comfortably defeated could be easily defeated. He becomes the first former president to return to the White House in more than 130 years. So this suggests that it isn't easy to do, to win and then to lose and then to win again. So this is an example of how he made a comeback, how he pulled it off. And notice here that White House, where the president lives and does business, requires the article the because it's a unique location, the White House. Now, how about this, the? What does the belong to in this use? It actually belongs to first because first is an ordinal number and ordinal numbers require the as an article. This is why you would need to say, I work on the second floor, because second is an ordinal number. Now, even though in this case it's connected to first, president also requires an article, and usually the article the, because you're referring to a specific and unique one. Let's review this sentence. Donald Trump has been named the next president of the United States. So this article, the, belongs to president. Next is an adjective because as of right now, the day of the election, he isn't officially president, he's president-elect. He will become president in the near future. So the next president of the United States, because the United States as a country is an exception, it requires the article the, although countries, proper nouns as a general rule, don't require articles. This is an exception.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, the movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson.
Donald Trump took the stage in his home state of Florida at 2:30 a.m. Wednesday and claimed victory after winning 3 critical swing states, North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. To take the stage, take simply means to appear on stage. So Donald Trump appeared on stage to address an audience, because that's what you do on a stage. You address an audience. So a stage is the raised platform area where a speaker is, and then the audience is in front of or around the speaker. So Donald Trump took the stage, appeared on stage. And claimed victory, you could say declared victory or announced victory. And then victory, of course, represents that he won. He is the winner. We use this structure of the verb claim plus noun. In this case, it was victory, and that is commonly used. But you could also use, for example, a spot, a title, or a share, among other nouns, to represent achieving something notable. So for example, the startup claimed the title of fastest growing company. So the startup achieved this title and it's notable. It's something worth paying attention to. It's something worth celebrating. The startup claimed the title. So claim is your verb and you would conjugate that. In this case, it's in the past simple. Claim the title of fastest growing company in the, because United States is an exception. The United States. You could also say the UK because that is another exception.
So he claimed victory after winning. Notice this ing because after is a preposition, so you need your verb in ing. After winning 3 critical, so critical represents extremely important. Another synonym would be essential. After winning 3 essential swing states and then the states. He surpassed the 270 electoral votes he needed. So if he surpassed, it means that he had more than 270. It could be 271. At that point, he surpassed 270. It doesn't matter if it's only by 1 or by 100. He surpassed it. As synonyms, you could use go beyond, but then you need to conjugate your verb go. So in this case, the past simple, he went beyond or he exceeded. Now, exceeded is commonly used with the word expectations. So my expectation is what I think will happen or what I want to happen based on a situation. So a very positive thing for your boss to say to you, or for you as my student to say to me as your teacher, is, Jennifer, you exceeded my expectations. So if your expectations were here with the amount of vocabulary you would learn, the quality of the lesson, how entertaining or engaging the lesson was, this is where you had your expectation. This is what you expected, you wanted, you thought. But then the reality was here. I exceeded your expectations. So that is a very positive thing to hear. And I would love it if that was true and I exceeded your expectations. That is certainly my goal. And notice this preposition here, at 5:34 a.m., because we use at with a specific time. I'll be fighting for you. Now notice here, this is in quotations. So I know that someone is directly saying this. And because the last person we spoke about was Donald Trump, I assume it is from Donald Trump. And I'm confirmed right here that it is. I'll be fighting for you with every breath in my body. So adding with every breath in my body makes it sound a lot stronger. This is commonly used in romantic situations. I'll be loving you or thinking about you with every breath in my body. Trump told supporters who had gathered at Palm Beach County Convention Center to cheer him on. So to cheer someone on is to support someone. Yeah, woohoo, way to go, let's go. So to cheer him on. And if you want to cheer me on, because hopefully I'm exceeding your expectations and you want to cheer me on, support me, you can like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your friends. That's how you can cheer me on. Now, to gather, so supporters who had gathered, it means that the supporters were in their individual locations, maybe their homes, but then they come together as a group. So that is the verb to gather. And again, I see quotation marks, so I know these words are coming out of Trump's mouth. I will not rest until we deliver the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. So notice he used the future simple. We use the future simple for commitments, for promises. So this is the same as him saying, I promise, I commit, but you don't need to say those words because that's what the future simple is used for. So when you tell your boss that you'll send the report by 5 p.m., you better do that because you're making a promise and a commitment. Or if you say, Jennifer, I'll subscribe to your channel, you better do that because you're making a promise or a commitment and you don't want to break your promise. That is the verb we use with promise. If you break a promise, it means you don't fulfill your promise. You don't say or you don't do what you said you were going to do. So you always want to keep your promises because to keep means to fulfill. During his nearly 25-minute address, so notice here, 25-minute is an adjective that describes his address. So his address is his speech. In this case, it's another word for speech, is not where he lives, which is also one's address. And notice they modify the adjective with nearly. Nearly means almost, but not quite. So it means maybe the speech was 23 minutes or 22 minutes. It was almost 25 minutes, but not quite. So you could say, I nearly fell. If you say, I fell, this is a statement of fact. But if you nearly fell, it means almost, but not quite. So you were able to stop yourself from falling. During his nearly 25-minute address, Trump expressed awe at how far his campaign came and gave tiny glimpses into some of the figures who are likely to shape his next administration. So here the word figures represents people because we refer to celebrities or politicians as public figures. Public figures. We use that word figures, but it means public people. We just don't say that. We say public figures. So in this case, figures means people. Here, Trump expressed awe. Awe is when you say, wow. When you have amazement, or it can also be used for a deep respect. If you look at something so incredible, perhaps the Grand Canyon, or winning the presidential election for the second time, wow, I have deep respect or amazement. He expressed awe at how far his campaign came and gave tiny glimpse. A glimpse is a brief or partial look. So I might give you a glimpse at my next lesson. So I let you see 1 minute of a 30-minute lesson. That would be a glimpse, a brief or partial look or view. From the top of his speech, so the top of his speech means the very beginning of his speech, when he told a roaring crowd of supporters. If the crowd is roaring, it means that they're making a lot of noise, they're cheering him on, they're very excited. So it's lively and there's a lot of noise, a lot of energy in a positive way. And again, I see quotes, so I know these are words coming from Donald Trump's mouth. We are going to help our country heal to the final moments. Okay, so this is what he said from the top of his speech, so at the beginning of his speech. So now we're talking about the final moments. So this is another way of saying from beginning to end, from beginning to end, to the final moments when he promised to put divisions in the rear view mirror. Well, if you're looking in the rear view mirror, you're seeing what's behind you. So on a timeline, that would be the past. So this is another way, a more figurative way of saying in the past. The rear view mirror represents the past. Trump attempted to strike a unifying tone. Strike means to accomplish or achieve or express. And a unifying is one that brings people together, which is the opposite of divisions, which tear people apart. You can say tear people apart or pull people apart. So bring together, unify, pull apart, tear apart, divide. Trump did not utter the name of his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, or any Democrat for that matter, throughout his roughly 20-minute address. Roughly means approximately, around. Before, we saw nearly. Nearly means almost, and now they're changing it to 20-minute address instead of 25 minutes. So roughly, approximately. Let's review utter. Utter. This means to speak or say aloud, but it isn't used in an everyday context. So you wouldn't say, I need to practice my uttering skills instead of speaking skills. No, that would sound ridiculous. Don't say that. It's really used to emphasize. So Trump did not utter the name. They're emphasizing the fact that he didn't even say the person's name, Kamala's name. So if you want to emphasize that you didn't say anything in a meeting, maybe there was some reason why, you can say, I didn't utter a word. I didn't utter a word. So it's really just used in specific situations to emphasize the fact that you didn't speak or say in this context because it was negative. The 2024 campaign is likely to go down as one of the most hotly contested and divisive in history. So we already talked about divisive, pulling or tearing people apart. Unifying, remember, is bringing together. With voters overlooking his divisive speeches, so his being Donald Trump's, felony conviction, and 3 separate criminal indictments to send the Republican former president back to the White House. So this is where he made his comeback. He pulled it off. Let's review some final vocabulary from this section because I want to exceed your expectations. So to go down as means to be remembered or regarded as. So I only highlighted these 2 words, which means you still need to be remembered, and you need as. To be remembered as, to be regarded as. One of the most highly competitive. That would be an alternative to hotly contested, highly competitive and divisive in history. With voters overlooking. If you overlook something, it means you ignore it. So the voters, they knew that Trump had a felony conviction. They knew he had criminal indictments, but they ignored it. They did that on purpose. But we sometimes use this in the negative. Let's say you are late for the 3rd time this week. Your boss might say, I can't overlook this. I can't overlook this. So I can't ignore this, and I can't intentionally ignore this. I can't overlook this. So it means that you might be in trouble. And that is the end of the article. So what I'll do now is I'll read the article from start to finish, and this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Trump pulls off historic White House comeback. The Republican comfortably defeated Democrat Kamala Harris in what polls had suggested would be a very tight election. He becomes the first former president to return to the White House in more than 130 years. Donald Trump took the stage in his home state of Florida at 2:30 a.m. Wednesday and claimed victory after winning 3 critical swing states, North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. He surpassed the 270 electoral votes he needed to earn a second term at 5:34 a.m. I'll be fighting for you with every breath in my body, Trump told supporters who had gathered at Palm Beach County Convention Center to cheer him on. I will not rest until we deliver the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. During his nearly 25-minute address, Trump expressed awe at how far his campaign came and gave tiny glimpses into some of the figures who are likely to shape his next administration. From the top of his speech, when he told a roaring crowd of supporters, "We are going to help our country heal," to the final moments when he promised to put divisions in the rearview mirror, Trump attempted to strike a unifying tone. Trump did not utter the name of his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, or any Democrat for that matter, throughout his roughly 20-minute address. The 2024 campaign is likely to go down as one of the most hotly contested and divisive in history, with voters overlooking his divisive speeches, felony conviction, and 3 separate criminal indictments to send the Republican former president back to the White House.
Do you want me to make more lessons just like this? If you do, put more in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips to help you speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And I have another video to help you get fluent in English, so make sure you watch it right now.